Hi everyone! Welcome to Health Vibe, your health and wellness lounge here at the Philippine STAR. Ako po si Kai Magsanok, ang features editor ng STAR. At isa rin po akong health and wellness advocate dahil tulad po ninyo, nagkaroon na rin po ako ng malubhang sakit. At alam ko lahat po tayo may kakilalang may malubhang karamdaman. No? So Health Vibe is here to democratize access to correct health and wellness information so we can win the fight against misinformation and disinformation. Speaking of a fight, today we're going to talk about a disease that maybe you have heard of because apparently merong mga may sikat na artista na meron ito, no? Pero ang goal po namin ay maintindihan po ninyong lahat kung ano ang sakit na ito. I'm pertaining to lupus. And our guest today, we're going to talk to a patient who is not just a patient, she's also an advocate for other patients with lupus. And we're going to learn about her story. I've always believed in all my years of interviewing and creating content on healthcare and wellness, yung mga illnesses po ay isang great equalizer nating lahat. No? Hindi po tayo nagkakaiba. Lahat po tayo pwede talagang magkasakit. And let me read her bio note. I'm very excited about our first guest. Attorney Emmeline Villar is an Undersecretary of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, handling the department's international affairs and attached and supervised agencies. She was previously an Undersecretary for the Department of Justice and handled the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, among other responsibilities. She also taught as a senior lecturer of constitutional law at the University of the Philippines College of Law, where she earned her law degree. Attorney M also served as a 3-term congresswoman of the Democratic Independent Workers Association, or DIWA, party list. She obtained her Master of Laws from the London School of Economics and Political Science, is the proud founder of the Hope for Lupus Foundation after having been diagnosed with lupus nephritis in 2007. Undersecretary M is happily married to Senator Mark Aguilar Villar and is a doting mother to their 9-year-old daughter, Emma. She is also a fellow columnist here at the Philippine STAR. Hi, Attorney M.
Hi, Kai, and to everyone, all our viewers.
Thank you for making time out of your very busy schedule. This comes out this October and it's Christmas season. I wonder how you guys are preparing for Christmas.
Well, as a family, we always look forward to Christmas, and not just because of having the reunions and giving of the gifts, but more importantly, of course, because of the celebration of the coming of our Lord. And as lupus patients, during Christmas, we have our Christmas party for the lupus warriors in the Hope for Lupus Foundation. So that's something that we all look forward to when we get together.
Okay, I love that, lupus warriors. Oo nga, we're fighting a good fight.
Yes.
Attorney M, you're open about being a lupus patient. Please tell us your story. No, how did you find this out? What was your journey like? Kasi alam ko, for some, understanding what they really have is actually very tricky, especially if it's lupus.
The diagnosis didn't come at once, so the symptoms also didn't come all together. It happened creepingly. So at first, I was feeling fatigued. I had very low hemoglobin, or I was anemic. But I didn't really think much of it because my father's side of the family, most of them are anemic, and they can function normally, and I was able to function normally as well. So I just dismissed it, and then I started to get fevers. But this is in a span of years. It didn't happen quickly. And then I started to have joint pains. When I started to have joint pains at first, it wasn't often. So it was something that I was still able to dismiss and to brush aside. But then it became more often and it became more severe. So it became debilitating. in the sense that I was not able to proceed with working or doing normal activities. Like, I'm not able to open doors because I can't use my fingers to grab the knob, or I can't eat with my hands because I can't hold the utensils because it's very painful. I can't work because I can't type. Very painful to move my joints and my fingers. So I became reliant on other people to do normal tasks, daily tasks. I gained weight, my body swelled, but I didn't realize that it was water retention at first. I thought I was just gaining weight. So my shoes didn't fit, so I needed to buy bigger shoes. Until even the bigger shoes didn't fit, I needed to buy Crocs. So I had to go to work in big sandals. So I was working very hard. So I was doing a lot of things, and I didn't really have enough time to think of my health. I didn't have time, period, to think of my health. So I just had to proceed with work and do these things. I noticed also I was losing hair, feeling fatigue. I was out of breath. So just walking from my office room to the toilet, I would have to pause and catch my breath. And so when everything was all together already happening, I still didn't think of going to the doctor. I had just too much work to do. I didn't have time to think of that. Until my secretary, who types for me, I dictate what he will type, told me that, "Ma'am, baka kailangan nyo na magpuntang doktor." Because it was just, he observed what was happening, and it was probably for him, there's something wrong. But I didn't think of it just because I was thinking of the work, not my health. So I decided to go to the doctor. I went to the wrong doctor. I went to not a doctor, but a physical therapist, because my main concern was the pain. Like, I wasn't really concerned about the shortness of breath, the falling hair, the weight gain. It was really just the pain. I want the pain to stop. The pain in my joints. So I thought like a physical therapist is someone that I should go to, but the physical therapist, of course, didn't do anything to help me with what I was experiencing.
Right.
Then it came to a point, I just went to the ER because in the middle of the night while working, I didn't know where else to go. So the ER doctor took my blood, took my urine, and then they didn't want to let me go anymore because they said my blood pressure was very high, my hemoglobin and red blood cells were very low, my urine had protein and blood in it. Basically, I had to stay and be confined in the hospital. But I didn't want to be confined because I had so much work. So I said, no, I have a closing tomorrow. I need to go to work. So I had to sign a discharge and go back to the office. But of course, when everything was done, I had to go back to the hospital and I had to be confined to do all the tests and everything. And they didn't diagnose me at first with lupus. I was diagnosed with glomerulonephritis. Which is a kidney disease also, a form of anemia, which they also diagnosed through a bone marrow biopsy. And they did a kidney biopsy also. But glomerulonephritis was what they determined in the kidney biopsy. And they didn't start the treatment right away, which made my condition worse. Eventually, one doctor said that it might be lupus. We did more tests and they said most likely it is based on these tests. And then I went to the States to have the diagnosis confirmed, and they confirmed the diagnosis as lupus, and then that's when we started the treatment already.
So you were diagnosed in 2007 and you were experiencing all these symptoms for years before getting the actual diagnosis.
But at first, it was just the anemia. which I experienced for a long time, but didn't really have a lot of complaints about it since I was able to function normally. When the joint pains, hair loss, the weight gain was from water retention because of the kidney problem. Those main symptoms came shortly after the other.
Okay.
So in a shorter span of time.
Is it okay to ask, Attorney M, how young you were then?
I was 24 to 25. Yeah, 20.
Right? You think na you're at the peak, I mean, in the middle of your 20s, full of life and energy and all that, but you were going through those, experiencing those symptoms already. But I think a lot of people would be able to relate sa story mo kasi ang Pinoy sobrang matiisin.
Yes.
Di ba?
Yeah.
Unahin natin yung trabaho.
Yeah. Very, like, I also have very high pain tolerance.
Yeah.
And tama ka, matiisin.
Hanggat kaya, di ba? Magpapakita sa trabaho, unahin yun. Ma'am, after the diagnosis, how did you manage your thoughts and emotions? Did you immediately understand what it meant to be a lupus patient, a lupus warrior? Kasi I have seen a lot of, I'm part of a lot of lupus communities on Facebook. And you can tell that they really cling to each other for mental and emotional health support, no? Pero as a patient mismo, parang what were your thoughts? What were you telling yourself after the diagnosis?
I just wanted to move forward with the treatment. I'm not the type who would feel very sad about. I didn't feel very sad about it. I didn't feel depressed about it. Although I understand why some people would be very sad and depressed. I just took it as much as I should have at that time. But I just said, okay, what can be done? What treatments are available to me? I did my own research, and then I just started with the treatment and did all the lab tests, the visits to the doctors. It was just like a project. I've always treated my sickness like a project, like something I need to work on, and that there are a lot of steps to achieve the goal of this project, which is to achieve remission.
Right.
So I just looked at it as something that would require my work. So, because as a patient, I need to put in the work for my own health and for my own wellness and for my own healing.
Right. And it needs to be prioritized. So talagang project is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at it. So when I was told that I had lupus, I said, okay, so what is the prognosis? What should be done about it? What can I do about it? And I did it. So I didn't really have a period of being depressed or getting very sad about it. Of course, it's not something to be happy about. I wasn't happy that I had lupus, but I didn't have that period of being depressed.
How about the people around you? No, how were they affected by the diagnosis?
I don't know if they hid it from me, but when my parents found out about it, which was about the same time as I did, I didn't see them very sad as well. They were very supportive of whatever I needed to do to get well. That's why we went to the States, we went to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and we had the diagnosis confirmed there. We saw several doctors for a second or third opinion on matters, and whatever tests or medicine that I needed, they've always been supportive, which was a big blessing, of course, to be able to do that. I know that most of people with lupus, especially in our country, are not able to afford the test, the treatment, the medication for lupus. So I'm very grateful to my parents who have supported me during that time, since I was also just starting in my career.
This is a series of episodes on lupus. So today we're talking to you, a patient, a lupus warrior. Next episode, we're going to be speaking to a doctor. And hopefully, the following episode, we will be able to help patients, find ways to get support so that they can get the treatment that they need. Speaking of treatment, pag-usapan na natin, Attorney M, yung nung nag-start na. So, you were at that state when you were diagnosed, no? You were bloated, ganyan. When you started the lupus treatment, what were its effects on your body and how did you manage?
I gained weight because I was taking some medication that made me gain weight. And then my face, it swelled. And when I saw people, they didn't recognize me. It was to that point. I gained so much weight. My face changed a bit. That was one of the things I noticed. But I noticed the positive effects as well. I noticed that the pain was more bearable. It didn't happen as often. It was not as severe. It was tolerable. So that was a good thing. And I noticed that over a certain period, my blood tests were improving. The blood test results were improving. So that was good.
Okay. That was 2007 when you started. It's 2024. So that's 17 years if my math is correct. How has your treatment changed para ngayon? Ano na yung parang maintenance?
It's basically the same. I'm taking generally the same drugs or medicine that I was taking when I was first diagnosed. So immunosuppressive medication. And some of the other medication that I'm taking are to address the manifestations, or I would say the effects of the lupus, and also of taking the medicine for such a long period of time.
My next question is about actually how you supplement your treatment and maintenance with your lifestyle. I do not want to sound insensitive or crude, pero looking at you, Attorney M, parang no one would be able to tell that you are fighting lupus, right?
Well, they call lupus the invisible disease precisely because most of people with lupus don't look like they have lupus. Me, I don't look like I am sick, like what you've said.
Yeah.
But internally, our body is fighting ourselves. My immune system is damaging my own tissues and organs because it's not able to distinguish healthy and sick cells or tissues and just attacks whatever's is on its way. It's different for each person with lupus.
Okay.
The manifestations and the experiences are different. Different organs are attacked by the disease for different people with lupus. No one case is the same. So in my case, I guess I'm able to manage it well because I have a positive outlook on my disease. I don't let it affect what I want to do in my life. Of course, there are times when I'm really sick and I have no choice but to take a break from work or from activities that I would normally do just to give my body time to rest and to recover. But so it's the same for even healthy people. When they get sick, they have to rest and recover. Apart from the outlook, it's also putting in the effort to take care of oneself is another big thing that I do that helps me to manage the disease. Because it's the organs inside the body that are affected. Like in my case, the kidneys and my blood that's affected. Apart from the others like the skin, the hair, I make sure that I do my lab tests regularly and see how my organs are doing through the lab tests. I see my doctor regularly. I take the medication that is prescribed to me. And I'm very observant of my body. As soon as I notice something different, I ask my doctor about it.
All right. That's a great thing to do because a lot of Filipinos go on Google and then they self-diagnose. At worst, they self-medicate. So please go to your doctors. Right? Meron pong mga health center sa barangay, di ba pwede po kayong magpunta, pero magtanong sa doktor, lalo na kung hindi po kayo doktor. Ayan. How about wellness habits, Attorney M? Like, are you able to exercise? Do you do certain forms of activities to stay fit, to strengthen the bones, right, and the muscles, since you already told us about what's happening inside the body?
I think that exercising regularly has been a big part of my journey towards being of better health. Because it's helped me maintain a better blood pressure.
Right.
It's helped me maintain a healthier heart, which was able to help me during the times, for instance, when I had COVID or other illnesses apart from my lupus. So working out regularly has also helped me build muscle that helps support my bones. Some of the side effects of the medicine that I'm taking is it weakens my bones. Working out has helped me to build the muscle to support the bones. It's generally good, but of course, before undertaking any workout or exercise activity, it's important for people with lupus or any sickness to consult their doctor first, whether it is advisable for them to do this kind of workout, and what should be avoided and what should be done prior to working out and after working out, to make sure that their health is also being watched while they do these workout and exercise activities.
Correct. Huwag pong follow sa mga reels kasi ang daming mga fitness reels ngayon. They just bombard you, especially if you search wellness, fitness, ganyan. So, huwag po follow, magpapaalam po sa doktor lalo na kung meron kayong sakit, no? Tulad ng lupus. Attorney M, please tell us about the Hope for Lupus Foundation. No, we were just talking about your co-founders, no, sina Dr. Lorenzo. What led you to co-found it, and what initiatives do you have to help support lupus patients and their families? Kasi iniisip ko baka hindi lahat kasing mentally and emotionally strong like you and your parents, no, throughout your journey. I would see that in community, especially those with kids who are patients, lupus warrior kids. The parents are the ones communicating with the other community members. So, ano po ang pwede nilang mahingi or ma-expect sa Hope for Lupus Foundation?
Okay, so you asked two questions. The first is, why did I think of co-founding Hope for Lupus? When I was first diagnosed, I didn't have anyone to talk to because I didn't know anyone with lupus. So I was looking for organizations in the Philippines that provide support to lupus patients. And I was able to find some, but they also did not meet regularly, or I didn't feel that that was what I was looking for. There were some activities that I wanted to do, but I didn't think that was the direction that the organization wanted to go. So I just set it aside. I said, okay, I'll just cope with this on my own. But then after I gave birth, I realized that my mortality is something that I have no control over, because I got sick when I was pregnant, and I realized that I can go anytime. I'm very blessed that I have people who supported me through the way, and that's why I live. But how about all those people with lupus who are not able to financially support themselves and pay for all the needs, medication, treatment, tests that they need for their lupus or to get well? I thought of those who like me, when I was first diagnosed, needed someone to talk to. I wanted to start this foundation, which I've thought of when I was first diagnosed, but I'm thinking of again now because of these experiences that I went through while I was pregnant and right after I gave birth. I just wanted to go and do it because I said we can go anytime.
Right.
So those items in our bucket list, let's just do it. I contacted my rheumatologist, Dr. Lorenzo, and I asked him, who can you suggest to invite to be part of this organization, the foundation? And he suggested Dr. Jane. And I also had another friend of mine who has lupus, and I asked her, and that's how it started.
Is this Mel Cuevas?
Yes.
Ayan. Mel and I work together in ABS-CBN Publishing.
Oh, I see.
As in batchmates. Small world. So, what initiatives do you have, Attorney M? So, Hope for Lupus Foundation. So, we're talking right now to the lupus patients or their families, right? How do they approach the foundation? And para rin, alam natin how the foundation can help them and they can also know how to help themselves.
The main purpose of the organization is for raising awareness about lupus and educating the public so that those who experience symptoms may be able to spot these and be able to consult a doctor and get a diagnosis. But we also provide support, like what you've mentioned, to people with lupus and to their families, whether emotional support through our regular meetups where our lupus warriors are able to talk to each other and we have facilitators that are able to guide them through the process. But we also provide financial support. This is not one of our main purposes, but seeing that this is one of the needs that lupus patients experience the most, then we try our best to raise funds so that we can provide this kind of assistance to them as well.
And if they want to reach the foundation, they can find you on Facebook, because I did. And you can Google them and you'll find their website and you'll see their contact details there. Okay po? Attorney M, what are the 3 things about lupus you would like the audience to know? Or maybe misconceptions you've encountered? Diba? Minsan kasi, hindi naman sa insensitive ang Filipino, pero talaga, may lupus ka. Yung ganun eh. Kasi meron tayong ibang expectation sa isang taong may sakit. Diba? If there are 3 things about lupus you would like our audience to know and understand, what would those be?
One is that it's not a death sentence. So often when a person is diagnosed or someone has a family member or friend who is diagnosed, they fear that that person will die soon or will already, be bedridden. And in some cases, there will be times that the lupus patient really has to rest and stay in bed. But in most cases, like I mentioned earlier, we look normal on the outside because, like I mentioned, lupus is called the invisible disease. But in the inside, our body is sick. So the second one is people should be more understanding of the condition of those with lupus. Sometimes, because it's an invisible disease, we dismiss it when people with lupus say that I am feeling weak right now, or I think I have to rest right now, I'm feeling fatigued, I don't feel well, because we rely on what we see in the outside. But in the inside, there are a lot of things happening that people are not really aware of. And the third one is that lupus can be managed. So this means that since it can be managed, even though it's a lifelong disease, as there is no cure right now for lupus, it's something that we can work at and that we can live with and live well with, as is demonstrated by a lot of people with lupus lead normal lives and fulfilling lives and very full lives. But they're able to do this because the patient themselves has to put in the work as well for their own health and their own wellness. Of course, we can't expect ourselves to get well if we're not willing to put in the effort to help ourselves recover and to heal.
Ang dami kong natutunan, Attorney M. First, dahil tayo mga Pilipino matiisin at di natin pinaprioritize ang health pag may nararamdaman, i-prioritize po natin. That's
Yeah,
one.
I'm also guilty of that. Yeah.
Kasi ano tayo masipag. Second, go to your doctor. Ask your doctor. Tell your doctor about symptoms. Don't go to your neighbor or to your relative
Or to Google.
to Google for health advice, right? And third, lupus is one of those invisible conditions that we might not immediately understand, but that's why we say kindness is the currency of our time, no? We have to be kind to ourselves if we are lupus warriors or patients, and we have to be kind to each other. Kasi hindi natin alam, it took years for Attorney M to get diagnosed nung nagsunod-sunod na yung mga symptoms, right? Pero a person beside you might be going through it. We don't know. That's why we just have to be kind, especially in the workplace, kung lahat hyper magtrabaho. In closing, Attorney M, I'll take the name of your foundation na rin, no? Kasi what we also want here at Health Vibe is to give people hope and to empower them to take charge of their health and that they are not alone. No? They have support. Is there hope for lupus patients? And their
Definitely.
loved ones?
I never felt like I've lost hope at any point in my lupus journey. And I know that there's definitely hope for all those with lupus. There are a lot of treatment options for us, for lupus warriors. And there are a lot of people who are here to support you through your journey. We have the Hope for Lupus Foundation, but we also have other organizations. Your fellow lupus warriors are here to provide you with emotional support. If you need financial help as well, we'll try our best to help you with that and guide you through seeking help from other sources as well. So we can do this together. We can work together with you so that you can feel better, you can work towards remission and achieve remission.
Attorney M, thank you so much for joining us again here at Health Vibe, and I'm sure you are an inspiration to a lot of people. Just looking at you, I'm already inspired, no, to be a strong person, ganyan. So, thank you again. See you here in the office when you're here.
See you around. It's a pleasure to be invited at your program. Thank you.
Thank you. And so that ends our first episode of Health Vibe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kung may kilala po kayo na matutulungan ng episode na to, please i-share po ninyo sa kanila, lalo na sa mga communities, na mga pasyente, na mga carers po na impacted ng lupus. Stay tuned for our next episode where we will speak to a doctor about lupus. So, ibang aspeto naman po ng sakit ang pag-uusapan natin. Again, this is Kai Magsanok, the features editor of the Philippine STAR and your health and wellness advocate. Until our next episode, please be well.